Number 17. We've gone all the way to number 17, guys, alongside my friends Adam and Tannen. Welcome back, guys. We are a couple days out of Doomsday here in America. For our English listeners who would feel alienated, yep, shit's about to hit the fan. The election's right around the corner, but guys, welcome back. Adam, what's going on, my man?
It's not too late to write my name in the ballots, everybody. Just write them in.
It's up for grabs.
Don't write Tannen's name in, though. You'd just be throwing your vote away.
For president.
We need the
it's
money.
True.
We need
I'm
the
Bernie
money.
Sanders of this group right now. You know, you'd just be like, I'd be stepping down and promoting Adam within a day. So.
There you have it, Tannen. Also, welcome back, man. What's going on with you this week?
Not very much. Throwing a nice big birthday party tomorrow. Looking forward to that.
Phil Collins going to be there.
He should be. Phil Collins, if you're listening, a week from now, I hope you're there tomorrow.
He doesn't listen to this show.
You don't know that.
I'm fairly certain.
Bono does.
I don't think Bono does
Bono
either. We actually
Bono's
have negative amount of
welcome to my
people.
party.
We have negative amount of people watching the show. I haven't figured that out yet, but it's totally possible.
Yeah. First of all, shout out to YouTube this week, guys, for totally fucking up our views. Always love it when YouTube just bends you the hell over and just shoves it up your ass. But thank you, YouTube, for totally glitching out our view system. Couldn't do it without you, Adam. I'm sure you're just so appreciative of the humbleness of YouTube to sneak in and out like that, and then give it back to you in the end. They've seen to regurgitated a few of our views back to us.
I don't think they gave anything back to us. I think we just got more views naturally. I don't think they just gave it back to us. I feel like it would be super weird for no one to have checked out the video in the last 3 days, especially after the start of the brand new Hard to Name podcast Facebook page, which Travis is going to put a link into on this episode.
Totally.
Right.
So Hard to Name podcast doing its own thing now. So shout out to you, Adam, for it's kind of like your Frankenstein.
Somebody wrote Tannen's a cunter on there.
Oh, wow.
I did not see that.
Yes, they did.
Wow, that is a cunter.
Yep.
Wow. Well.
Was that you, Adam, that wrote that?
Nope.
I mean,
It was not me.
so shout out to who
that's
wrote that. Let's put him on blast right now. Who says
shit.
it's a cunter?
Nick. My brother Nick.
Shout out to Nick.
He did
the
say.
guy also rated the show 1 out of 5 stars. So thank you, Nick, for all your support.
Well, he also though went on to say that we're awesome, but Tannen is a cunter.
So back in the good graces, at least in my book. Thank you.
He turned that frown upside down and gave us 5 stars. And I did not tell him to do any of that, any of the stuff, including call Tannen a cunter on the Facebook page. That was all him.
You know, I want a T-shirt. I want a T-shirt that says "I am a cunter," and Nick better fucking deliver.
That would be fucking awesome. Or just get a picture of you like giving the thumbs up, and just like with the like Obama black and red hope, and just replace it with cunter. Fucking awesome.
It's got to be on a T-shirt though. It can't just be posted or something like that. You know.
No,
that's lazy. It's got to be a T-shirt.
Guys, you hear that? Everyone that follows us on Twitter, the Facebook groups, make a Photoshop of Tannen and the Obama poster with Cunter instead of Hope. So get on that, guys.
Please, somebody do that. If somebody makes that, I will fucking commission a shirt and get a shirt made for it. And I will fucking wear that shirt. And you think that I'm fucking around with you, but I'm not. My buddy's band, their logo was like a gorilla skull. And I made this badass thing and with clip art, and gave it a swirly hairdo and some really snazzy looking glasses, and some flowers and some rainbows and some sunlight, and really just made it look really good, and a bow tie with some clip art, and then I made it into a T-shirt, and I rocked that motherfucker hard. It looks good too.
You should make a zombie Elton John T-shirt.
I don't need it. I need a Tannen Cunter T-shirt. That's the next T-shirt I need. Somebody come up with the design. Make it happen.
No, I definitely want one as well. I need that in my life.
Yeah, so there you go, guys.
Get
start
on
a
it.
Patreon shit for that, just for that shirt, and then close the Patreon when we get the shirts delivered.
GoFundMe. I need a Tannen Cunter t-shirt. I don't know shit about it. Somebody make a
by the way, if you guys
GoFundMe.
start making money off of this, there better be a kickback for my likeness. Just to let you know here.
Somebody
Saying that right up.
give Tannen a mustache or not a mustache. Whatever he currently has right now, do the opposite. And
He has a
that way
mustache.
it's not.
I'm pretty
okay.
sure.
Let's do it. Non-mustache. Tannen is a Cunter t-shirt. That way we don't have to pay him.
Oh man, dude.
Tanner.
The thing is
TGT.
when I shave, I definitely scream cunter when I have a shaved face.
Like physically scream in the shower, like I'm shaving.
Oh, physically.
Cunter!
Oh, yeah, yeah, every time I shave now, I'm going to scream that out loud.
That's fucking awesome. I need to start doing
Well, Adam,
that too.
last week you went the extra mile and you welcomed me to the show for the first time. So history is made. I'm a little disappointed it didn't happen again.
Yeah, I was tempted. And I was like, I don't want him to get used to it.
Well, since nobody welcomes me to the show ever or asks me what I've been up to, here's a little taste of what I've been up to this week, guys. Dickles. I have been practicing singing all the old Castlevania music and replacing every note with the word dick holes. And it's been excellent. It's been fun.
Are you saying dead coals?
Dick holes.
It sounds like you're saying dead coals there, man. You need to start doing a voice warm up before
Can't
you.
believe you've been
before you
practicing that. And it sounds like dead coals still.
I know. I have to go back to the drawing board on my dick holes.
Go home and be a family
but
man.
Essentially, I'm saying I've done jack shit this week. Just a laid back week for the most part. Same old for me. So thank you, Travis, for asking me how my week was. Other than that, I have been playing pretty much everything you could possibly think. Finally beat The Last of Us this week, so you guys were on my ass last week about it. But guys, what have you been up to? What have you guys been playing this week? Anybody?
Singing lessons of my own. And it was a song about dead coals, but guess what? I'm not even going to sing it now. You ruined it.
Well, you couldn't measure up to my singing.
I'm just saying
anyway,
it was better than your dead coals song, but now I don't want everybody to think I'm biting off you, so forget it. Way to ruin the show early on.
Well,
Shannon, what have you been playing this week?
I actually picked up Mad Max for $5 this week.
Nice.
So
For the NES?
I want to. No, for PS4.
Oh.
So
Did they make a Mad Max
Been
game for the NES?
Yeah,
They did.
I did not know that.
I didn't like it.
it wasn't too bad. It was NES, and you just drove around. It was overhead, and
Reminded me of Dick Tracy.
yeah,
I did play Dick Tracy.
But yeah, Mad Max for the PS4, it's not bad.
Who
but
developed that?
I don't even remember. I mean, Warner Brothers, of course.
Warner Brothers
but then
published
as far
it,
as the actual, as far as the actual developers go,
They're picketing.
I have no idea off the top of my head.
The Voice Actors Guild is picketing Warner Brothers this week. Actually, they might have done it yesterday, but
Do you know why?
yeah, to do with the strike. They're striking against like a bunch of companies. Warner Brothers is one of them.
I did
Oh,
see
wow.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, they're
It's just-
any union.
Avalanche Studios, to answer your question real quick.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
But no, there's a Warner Brothers, Disney, Insomniac, which is kind of weird. I wasn't expecting to hear their name on the list. A couple other companies. I think EA is one of them. But basically the Voice Actors Guild, all the union workers are not working right now. They're all out of work. They're striking. They want things like it's
They
a
want
bunch
pampered.
of no, I don't think so. They want things like stunt coordinators on set when they have to do mocap.
That. Like, that's what the other side would have you believe. They want pampered, but essentially they don't.
But they want some of their things are like not longer than 2 hours for like screaming fight scenes and things like that require a lot of vocal strenuation. Because I guess right now there's no guides, so they want that. They want stunt coordinators on mocap sets. They want to know what part they're playing in a game, when they sign on for it, because I guess some games have people, engaging in mocap sexual activity and like using racial slurs and stuff, and people want to know about that ahead of time, which that's reasonable.
That makes sense. I mean, actors have to know about that shit before they're hired.
Oh, by the way, you're gonna call this guy the N-word, and then you're gonna rape this woman in this.
Yeah.
Scene.
So, but then I think the biggest thing
game.
is they want like kickbacks on if a game sells X amount of copies, and I think it's 2 million copies, which is a lot for a game to sell. But if a game sells 2 million copies, they want like a bonus at that point. Because from the way that I understand it, when a voice actor goes in, they get a session fee, and then that is it. Like, I mean, if you look at like big name people like Phil Lamar, Steve Bloom, or Nolan North, or Troy Baker or somebody, like they'll get their session fee for the day or for the hour, or, whatever. But when that's it, when they're out of the booth and their session fee is done and like they've recorded all their lines, like they don't get any more money out of that. But neither do like game developers. So
yeah, that's the thing too.
But they all
actor,
deserve
though,
it, I would think. If you're selling X amount of game, like give the game developers some more money too. Give the fucking voice actors some more money. Like who is getting all the money on big blockbusters?
Yeah, but with being a voice actor, though, you're still under contract. So I can't imagine that you can't have a contract that says all of that stuff in it. In the first place.
Though? I mean, how?
Yeah, no,
is
that's
that
the thing.
option?
This is through the union.
Yeah.
So these are things that the union is saying, hey, this is going to have to be done on all future contracts. And these companies are saying, well, I don't think so. We don't want to do that. And from what I understand, it's because if they cave and give the voice actors the money on... And they're not even asking for like an absorbent amount of money if the game goes over 2 million. But if they give that to the voice actors, I think they realize that, holy shit, we're going to have a whole new mess of problems on our hands because now the devs are going to want it. Now the fucking artists are going to want it. Now everybody's going to want an extra little something if the game goes, really big, and that's going to cut down on profits. But I don't think what they're asking for is unreasonable.
Why wouldn't you have a stunt coordinator contract though too? And why wouldn't you have a stunt coordinator on a fucking mocap set? I think that's kind of a head scratcher
me as
for me
odd
too. Like,
and
that's kind of a no-brainer, you would think.
Yeah.
But hey,
you gotta
flip.
grab this
Now
guy. He's gonna slam you to the floor.
Yeah, it's just some guy yelling at him. Fucking now flip.
Well, from what I read the other day, and I could get Steve Bloom, who's done I guarantee you, he's done like 100 things that you guys have either watched or played. Just go look at his IMDb page and check out all the crazy shit that he's done voice work for. And apparently, in his entire career at doing video game voiceovers over the last 20 years, he's only made a total of $300,000.
Yeah.
Over the course of like
crazy,
20 years. That's
look at guys
fucking bonkers.
Look at guys like Tim Fallon. Are you aware of Tim Fallon? All like the video game music he did, and like the older era, I would say older era. Dude, he did so much good stuff, like all these soundtracks to the NES on the later stuff, and he's like, God, he's kind of a tragedy in a way, financially. It's just a shame, like what guys don't see.
A lot of the musicians involved too. They do get fucked over a lot. That's actually, you were talking about the devs. I was thinking more of the composers would be the ones to strike back first too, because they can be unionized, and like.
At least a collective.
Pretty much for the same stuff.
Yeah.
But the thing is, too, like, they'll go in as well. If they're told to write the music, they will get their syndication and stuff depending on their contract. Like, well, you guys are going to make a soundtrack. For every soundtrack that's sold, you've got to give me, X amount of money. And I can see that. If the actors are only asking for 2 million copies and then they get an X amount, that's totally fair, honestly.
Yeah, video games are big business. Like, this is the kind of shit that you would get in a movie studio. You know what I mean? Video games are not... Apparently, the union contract hasn't been revised since, like, 1996 or something like that.
Oh, geez.
Yeah,
It's
which
Look at the actors
yeah.
that we had back in 1996.
It was like
the original Resident Evil. Oh my god.
this relationship between the two has been nothing but turbulent since like '96. It's just been, just all this shit that you don't hear about. If you look into this kind of stuff, like Adam was saying, it's crazy what these guys are just getting fucked. Like it's insane, in my opinion. I don't know. You guys might see it differently, but yeah.
Well, it's also
Hopefully
going to a new form of professionalism, though. You know, like look at what the world was like in 1996 as far as the actors went, versus now.
You had
know,
bullshit like Seinfeld on.
Or hanging with
Wasn't there a
Mr.
Seinfeld
Cooper.
computer game?
There should be.
Yeah.
What would you do in a show about nothing? Fucking PC.
I'm pretty sure it was some stupid trivia show.
It'd be like Diablo and
trivia
your Kramer. Or that.
Oh, that'd be awesome, actually.
A little tease from Ubisoft. Ubisoft.
How do we
however people
say
want.
that? Can we clear this up real fast? How do you say it?
Ubisoft.
How do you say it?
Ubisoft. I like to say like Ubisoft. Ubisoft.
Do you always say it
Ubisoft.
with such an effeminate spin on it? Or is it
Ubisoft.
For the sake of now, I do. So Ubisoft.
So
I'll say it like
you
Blanche
do
from
pronounce
Golden
it though,
Girls.
Ubisoft.
You make it sound like it's like some kind of like new toilet paper that came out, you know, that really sucks up everything. Ubisoft.
Or
Dude,
The
that's
Ubisoft.
toilet
gross.
paper kings themselves.
It's Ubisoft.
They had a press conference and they teased a little bit of Assassin's Creed. Didn't give away too much, but word on the streets, fellas, it's going to be set in Egypt.
That's
I don't know
been
if
a
you guys
rumor
have fallen
for, like,
off from the
2
series.
years.
Tannen, I don't even know if you were ever really a fan of the Assassin's Creed series. I know Adam
I
was.
played the first 3 games. That's about it.
What? You skipped 4?
Black Flag's where it's at.
Black
I didn't
Flag
skip
is-
4. I have 4. I just haven't gotten around
Oh my
to it.
god,
It's on
Black
my
Flag's
shelf.
awesome. That game's fucking awesome. It is the
Do you
least
guys-
Assassin's Creed, but it's fucking cool.
Oh wait, well I did play Syndicate. I did rent that and liked it a lot. The one that's in London.
Oh yeah, I haven't
loved
played that one.
Do you guys think fans are too hard on Assassin's Creed? You think
No,
it's the
I
cool
think
thing
people
to
are
do
just-
shit on Assassin's Creed in a way?
I don't think they're shitting on it. I think people love and hate annual releases. People like to say, "Oh, well, you're giving us the same thing," but then when people try new shit, like doing something differently, either nobody buys it or everybody trashes it.
Redundancy is a dirty word. It's a very fine line. And I think that Assassin's Creed at the end of the day, in recent times, gets a bad rap. I think it's a great series. And I just see a lot of snarky bullshit. Like, it's kind of like I don't know, man. Like, it's like, in a way, Assassin's Creed is kind of like Call of Duty as far as, like I said, the redundancy of the yearly release. But I feel like, and we're going to talk about Infinite Warfare if you guys want later on, but I feel like Assassin's Creed tried to shake it up more. And just like you said, people, it's kind of like, oh, no, change. I want to bitch about it, but as soon as it happens, it's like, what the fuck?
Well, the
you know?
change that they made, what I think
Not always good.
Assassin's Creed, the problem with it was, is it took steps to make it good. They're like, hey, you guys want to see what driving a boat is going to be like? Oh, you like that? Well, the next game's going to revolve around that. Oh, you really like that? Well, let's just get rid of that mechanic completely and make a shitty game with a boring character. And then they made Unity, and then not only was Unity not good on its own, but it also was just a huge glitch fest. And I think that at that point when Unity came out and it just became, okay, well, it's an Assassin's Creed game, we got to release it this year. You know, this is this year's Assassin's Creed, and it gets to the point where annual releases are so expected that nobody's paying attention to quality control. Like, that game was broken when it came out. Like, broken. And they just assumed, like, hey, everybody's going to fucking get this game because it's Assassin's Creed. And I feel like that makes the developers lazy. And I think that's what gets a lot of shit. I don't think it really has so much to do with the, this is the same fucking game every year, because there's also, to an extent, if it's not broke, don't fix it. I mean, walking around and blending in with people and stabbing people, like, that's fun. Driving a pirate ship around, like, blowing up other ships, that's fun. So they know how to make fun games, but at the end of the day, if they're just fucking around and trying to collect a check and not putting the time and effort to make a really polished game, and they're still going to release it as a AAA title, I think that's where you start to see a problem.
You think times they may be a changing as far as like all the hype, positive hype adds you. I haven't heard much negative about Breath of the Wild, like 'cause they're totally reinventing Zelda in a way. Do you think it's I don't know, not fully positive, but more like we're seeing a change in that like people are more accepting of it?
Of what? Of hype?
Like change and like their established IPs they hold so nearly and dearly and don't want change, but it seems like I feel like there would have been a lot more backlash from Breath of the Wild initially from what we see.
Well,
like people
I
were
mean,
not open to the change. But there has
look at the change one change that they pulled in Zelda, and we talked about that recently, was Spirit Tracks, and that game sucked.
Yeah.
I mean, we all hate Spirit Tracks.
And before
And
that, though,
so-
it was when they took the buttons away with Phantom Hourglass. That was a big change. But I don't think that was so much to change the Zelda formula as it was to push the DS's technology and to make a game for the DS. You know what I mean?
Gimmick.
Yeah, gimmick.
But as far as like, I mean, Spirit Tracks was just that was a whole different setup. Hey, let's build a railroad and cruise around the Hyrule and my railroad.
Yeah.
It was it was so boring. It was so uninspired. It was just bare bones at the end of the day, Zelda with the fucking railroad gimmick thing.
But
Just
see,
not
like,
for me.
I'd say like that's I think they saw what happened with Unity as far as Assassin's Creed goes. I personally never played it, but heard how horrible it was.
It was.
And
I
then they
played
took
it
Syndicate.
a year after it released, and it was still janky as fuck. And like the multiplayer, a year. We're talking a year. They had a year to patch and fix this by the time I played it. And the multiplayer was so fucking broken that you still could not invite a friend to play with you. You could only get into like random matches and hope to meet one of your friends in a random match.
I think they gave up on it. They were like, everybody already fucking hates this. Let's just improve
Exactly.
Syndicate. Let's make that.
They're
the game
already
that we
on their
wanna
way
make
to
because
next.
Fuck this.
Yeah, but from what I understand, typically when you have developers releasing games on a yearly schedule, like Ubisoft does with Assassin's Creed, that's not just one team. So the team that was working on Unity was not the same team. Like they didn't need to divide their resources like that. But I don't know. You still owe it to the people that fucking bought your game to fix that shit. It's fucking broken.
They're still not going to bother wasting. At the end of the day, they had to waste money to pay people to work on it, no matter what team it was, and they weren't going to do that on a game that got shit on upon release. They were just going to like see if they could try again with a new team, pretty much.
That game was so broken that they gave away copies of other games for free to people that bought Unity. I remember they were giving away codes for Far Cry 4 and something else, and that's pretty bad.
I mean, like Mafia 3, like I played that. Not the storyline was great, hands down, but wonky as shit. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to buy it until I read that it got better. Yeah. Still people are like, dude, I've owned this now for like a couple months and it's still fucked. Like, what's up with that? Even the updates are not fixing it. In some cases, even making the game worse. So, I mean, like, at least 2K is trying to fix the problem while it's still a fresh problem.
Yeah,
but
2K also did refuse to release review copies.
Yeah.
They didn't release review copies until a day before launch. And now Bethesda is doing the same. Bethesda did it earlier this year with Doom, and everybody was like, "Oh, that's not a good sign," because typically the only people that do that is with games that are obviously broken, and you don't want bad reviews.
That it was fucking amazing when it was released.
Yeah, so they didn't do it with Doom, and then Doom came out, and Doom was did very well. We're getting ready to talk about some spoilers. As you will see, your screen is now saying something to that effect, because we have Travis, the master of editing. Only he can input these pictures. So when you don't see the picture, if you don't want to be spoiled on The Last of Us, and if you haven't played it, seriously, just skip ahead, because there's no point in spoiling it for yourself. If you have played it, stick around and just ignore what I'm saying. Travis will take care of the editing part. He beat it. Tannen's beat it. I beat it. If you want to be cool like us, go get it.
You'll listen to Beat It.
And then listen to Beat It. And then beat it. Just beat it.
Beat it.
We are back on the Heart of the Name podcast. Guys, The Last of Us, I was the last to beat it because I'm always the last at everything apparently. Last in life. I'm gonna go drink a bottle of whiskey and sing my sorrows.
Don't do that. That sounds like a terrible
Because this is
idea.
how I feel after playing this game. That's exactly how I felt. I felt so depressed coming out of this game, guys. But in a good way. It was an excellent game. A great game by Naughty Dog. First of all, just the story in itself, amazing, guys, in my opinion.
Yep.
That's for lack of a better word there, but yeah. Pretty much sums it up there. Well, just going into it though, I mean, what were your, as the intro went, of course the intro is one of the saddest parts.
That may be the
saddest
saddest intro in any video game ever. Or maybe even the saddest part in any video game. I cannot think of any other part in any other video game except for maybe Ares dying. But
I was about to say though, it beats Ares dying.
Yeah, I was about to say that's like 100 times. But up until playing The Last of Us, the Ares death scene was always, oh, that's got to be the saddest thing. It's coming. It's always sad. But like The Last of Us, I don't know. That's like soul crushing. That's really bad.
I thought the Henry scene got me more than that.
Yeah, that was rough too.
No, yeah.
That was really rough too, because the game does such a good job of constantly reminding you that you are not safe, that nothing is safe in this world. But killer soundtrack, awesome story, great voice acting. The gameplay is legit. All of the little stories that you find, like just the whole backstory with Bill and picking up those notes and stuff is fucking awesome. Yeah. Like all the little tiny details which
Bill was hilarious.
Which that was one thing.
Did you say Bill is hilarious?
In a sick, twisted way, Bill was hilarious. He was a funny kid. He reminded me of fucking Trevor from GTA 5, but just gay.
Whoa. Dude, he was nothing like Trevor. Trevor was a homicidal maniac.
Yeah, I was about to say Bill was pretty...
Bill was human.
Yeah. He was... I think he was probably just a man who had been kind of just beaten into submission and learned to see the world the way that it was and just wanted to be kept safe. That's why I wasn't taking any of Joel's shit. But yeah, all in all, it's a solid game all the way through. I can't think of anything that I would change with that game to make it any different.
I kind of wish they would have made more DLC, as far as storyline goes. I don't know if you played the prequel DLC yet, Travis. Did you do that before you played the game, or have you played that yet?
I got the remastered, and it came with Left Behind, so I'm going to dabble in that next.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's pretty good. It definitely builds more story, but I was hoping the little notes, I was hoping they would make DLCs where you actually got to play as some of those people, or even as Bill, a
Bill DLC would be with all of his sticky magazines.
Oh yeah, it would be hilarious, and at the same time depressing as shit, just a gay lonely man out there trying to survive.
Yeah, it was good. It was really good. I enjoyed it. So I'm glad I got it on sale too. So excellent. The controls were responsive and tight. I like the whole crafting. That was great. If you're not crafting, as Adam said, then you're not living.
I don't remember saying that, but I probably did.
It sounds like something you would say.
It does sound like something I would say.
Yeah, Last of Us, I'd give it a maybe 9.5 out of 10. The only thing is, what got old for me were the damn skids in the water. That got a little repetitive, but other than that, no complaints about The Last of Us at all.
Did you fuck around with multiplayer at all yet?
No, I haven't. I just focused on...
Man, multiplayer is really good. It's a really good multiplayer. I'm a big fan.
Well, Tanner, my man, thank you for joining us. I know you got some things going on tonight.
Yeah,
but
I was about to say, I got to sign off here.
Travis,
thanks for having me tonight.
Travis is kicking you off the show.
I'm actually being considerate. I know he's on the time.
Yeah, because I even said it. I got about 30 minutes, so and I'm over that one.
All right, we'll see you down the road on the show. Have a good one, man.
Right on, you guys too. Good night.
Later.
Later on.
Hey guys, Mike here from the Slam Pigs Podcast, reminding you, as always, check us out on Twitter, @Slam Pigs Podcast. Check us out on Facebook, The Slam Pigs Podcast. Or, as always, check us out on YouTube. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe button. Hibiki TMD is where it's at. Until we meet again, oink oink.
And we're back, guys. Don't get Chromebooks are shit.
Don't get a Chromebook, everybody.
Hard to Name Podcast, episode 17. We're back. I'm here with Adam. Tannen joined us once again 3 weeks in a row, Adam.
Yep.
Always a pleasure.
A lot of
Our friend
weeks.
Tannen. We go way back, for the most part.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I think that's one thing I love about this show. I mean, we're just literally, and shout out to all you guys that listen to the show and love it, but we're literally just old friends from like high school days that sit around and just shoot the shit, you know? This is a phone conversation.
I've never met
Gross.
Travis. I don't even know who he is. I called this number. It was taped onto a telephone pole. It said, "Want a podcast?" ? But podcast was spelled wrong. So I called him to tell him about that, and apparently somehow he just week after week tricks me into recording another episode. No clue who this guy is. So pull back the curtain a little bit. So what are you moving on to next? I mean, I guess you'll do the DLC for The Last of Us, but what's next on your list?
I'm finishing up some Arkham Knight.
You probably
Get it
just
out of the
skip
way.
it.
I just want to do it for the sake of trophies and stuff. I'm right there, like at the end of the main story. I just want to get that done, and then, man, I got to tell you with that real quick. I'm really turned away by the Batmobile missions, the sneaking. That shit gets old fast.
It sure does. That was.
Good God, I liked the Batmobile stuff at first. Then it was like more.
I pretty much hated it from the beginning. I was like, what? I don't need to do this. Like, do I really have to do this? And then there's so much in that game where it's like, Batmobile, more and more Batmobile. And it never slows down. Like, all the cool boss fights that the Arkham games are, I feel like they're kind of known for, is all kind of like just taken away and replaced with like, here's a Batmobile fight, have fun with that. Like, you look at the Mr. Freeze fight, I think is probably one of the coolest boss fights in those games. And then you also have, the one from Arkham City, yeah. And then you have like the Deathstroke fight from Arkham Origins. I thought that one was legit as hell too. And like, you fight Deathstroke in Arkham Knight, and it's just a fucking like tank battle. And you're like, what the fuck? That was such a cool fucking fight in the last game. And
I had that same thought, man. Because I loved Arkham City so much. It's the best one, in my opinion, hands down, my favorite.
Yeah, Arkham City is legit. And even though the story, the ending is like, I don't know, kind of controversial, I suppose you could say. But I think it's like, I don't know, a lot fucking better than... Arkham Knight's story was super disappointing, mainly because the Under the Red Hood arc is one of my favorite Batman stories of all time, and I feel like they just shit on it.
Right.
I was super disappointed with all of that.
What did you think of the Man-Bat parts of the game?
Well, like the jump scares?
Yeah.
Like, I think Man-Bat is cool.
They got me. They got me on one of them.
Yeah, it got me every time. It got me every fucking time. And then there's one time where...
It sounds so awful. That sound is so like, oh god, like it's just a dread feeling I got every time I heard it and he was close. Like, I'm gonna get scared soon. But then, like, I knew it was coming already. Like the first time it got me so bad. Like I was like, fuck. But after that I was like, it's coming now because I heard him coming, you know what I'm saying?
Well, there's one time where it's like, it's the Joker that does it too. And like, even that is like, what the... God damn it, got me again. But no, ultimately they've felt somewhat out of place. Like, this is a series that is like, you are motherfucking Batman. Like, no other superhero game has made you feel like you were the superhero more than the Arkham games. You are Batman. You are the Knight. You're
in
the
this
things.
one, you feel like Kyle Petty because of all the fucking Batmobile shit.
Well, there's that, but then it's also like, would Batman really get scared with Man-Bat jumps in his face like that? Like, I don't feel like Batman anymore when you guys keep trying to jump scare me on everything.
Frame. I don't feel like Batman.
Yeah, so I don't know. It was
Nope.
I don't know. It was worth playing, but
When I put on social media, and like I think it was on Twitter, I put out that I was playing this game when I first got it. People asked me to review it when I was done. And honestly, if I would have to review this game, it would be all over the place because certain parts of it I thought were excellent. I thought they pulled it off well. It's just an up and down opinion. Like I could say probably an 8, a solid 8 for Arkham Knight, probably. But it's just there's so many things I didn't like. It's just so much. I don't know which way to go.
now there is one of the DLC. Like, there's a handful of DLCs. One of them is called A Matter of Family, and you play as Batgirl. And that DLC is actually, I think, maybe even better than the main game of Arkham Knight.
I thought that should have been its own game on it. It looked awesome. I've never played it, but I've seen gameplay.
It's
of it.
really short. It's like a couple hours, if that.
Right.
If you like actually look for everything and do everything, it's a couple hours.
I would like to get some Telltale Batman in my life because I've never really dabbled in that as far as the Batman game.
I'll probably pick that up after it's all done. I
For
don't
some
like
reason-
playing games episodically at all.
I don't either. It's bullshit. I hate they've done that with Final Fantasy. They're doing that with Final Fantasy, I should say, the remake of 7.
Yeah, but I don't know.
They're going to be bigger games. They're going to be bigger experiences.
Yeah, I was about to say, they're
It's
saying
still-
that every episode is going to be the length of like a Final Fantasy 13,
Right.
which
Yeah, but
that was a
At the
long.
end of the day, though, I just
long
don't
fucking
like the
game.
route that it goes in. Like that's with pre-orders, like we always say, and episodes. And God, why can't it be back to the good old days? It's just like, here it is, play it. And speaking of the good old days, I was going to say every time I play any of the Batman Arkham games, for some reason I have to play Batman NES. Like when I'm done, I always do. It's been my thing ever since like Arkham Asylum because I love the Batman NES games so much. I
Yeah,
did play a shitty Batman game this week on Turbo Graphics. It's kind of like a boring Bomberman / Goof Troop on SNES hybrid. It was terrible. I don't recommend that game at all. But what you got on your plate, man? What do you want to talk about?
I don't know. I've been playing Uncharted. I platinumed Uncharted 1 again last weekend. I'm gonna platinum Uncharted 2 probably when this podcast is over.
And shout out to Adam. Sorry to cut you off real quick. Pretty and Pixel, thank you for the care package. She sent me the Uncharted collection, Adam. So that's coming in the mail for me. So I'll be able to talk about that with you more in depth.
Nice.
Really excited.
That's
See what this does? We plant a seed, Adam, and then it delivers us games.
I like
That's what
that.
we do. That's
So-
what we do.
Yeah, Uncharted is awesome. That's one of my very favorite franchises of all time. I love those games. Uncharted 2 I think Uncharted 4 is actually my favorite now. But Uncharted 2 is awesome. And I'm right there. I'm actually at the last chapter. That's what I was doing before we started this. And what's cool is on the collection, crushing mode is unlocked right from the beginning, so you can just jump right in to the hardest difficulty. Well, they added a new hardest difficulty called brutal, which is not unlocked. But for trophy purposes and everything, crushing is unlocked right off the beginning. I don't know, I've been playing a lot of games on the hardest setting right off the bat here lately.
Yeah. Did you beat The Last of Us on hardest, I'm guessing?
Yeah.
I actually did too. So that's the mode I went with. That's why the hardest part of the game for me, not to backtrack, but I didn't feel like I talked about it enough, was that tunnel at the end in Reno full of the infected. That was really hard for me. Other than that, the Firefly thing, piece of cake. The Firefly hideout, I had that like first run. So anyway, let's continue. Sorry, man.
Just about to say, just throw up your spoilers thing again for that little tiny. You would have had it if you would have just left it
all
at
I
Reno.
basically said was you're going to run here and fight the infected, and then you're going to fight fireflies.
No, what? Stop saying it. Stop. That's a big spoiler. If you've never played the game before,
I feel like the game's old enough though that people would probably know. At least for the people that listen to this show.
I hope so. I don't know.
I hope. What did I do?
I can
ruined
tell
it.
you for a fact, neither one of my brothers have beat it. So
Oopsie.
JD's beat it. JD actually beat it before I did, but Andrew and Nick have not. So
editing time.
Yeah. Yeah, throw up those spoiler tags, at least for them. I don't know if they even listen to the show, but just in case.
I'll even put like a blowhorn in the background, like the Price is Right fail horn as for a spoiler, just if people are like trying to sleep to the show. I'll wake them up.
Wake them up for a spoiler. Hey,
There'll
you
be a
guys are
week
almost
again.
asleep. Let me ruin something
They'll
for
have
you.
to watch more videos because they can't sleep now. So win.
Oh yeah, true that. I see what you
Also,
did there.
you asked me what else I was playing this week. The big one, I've gotten back into Skyrim. I'm back, Adam. Not the
Did you-
remaster.
no?
I'm still in the 360 version.
Why didn't you pick up the
want the
remaster?
remaster. Did you get the remaster?
No, not yet. I'm waiting to see. There is a lot of mod support, surprisingly, for the PS4, which is kind of cool. Not like a lot of mod support because obviously you still can't. They didn't come back on their policy of like adding in new textures and assets, but there's a lot more than what I was expecting there to be, which is cool. But I'm waiting to see if it gets announced for the Switch, because if I'm gonna play it again, I don't really need Skyrim trophies again. But being able to play it like on the go, that would be
Yes.
that'd be a fun game to play like on the go.
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. And I think that's why they marketed the hell out of that game more, I think, than any other game, the commercial like we talked about. This is just awesome. I think I'm diving back into the old Skyrim on 360 just to get like warmed up a little bit because it's been so long since I played Skyrim, get a feel again. But I'm right back. I didn't need training wheels for more than like 5 minutes. It's fucking Skyrim. I forget how many hours you told me you had in total.
Like,
Your Skyrim run.
yeah, it was like out of 380 or something like that. It was a lot.
Nice. Shout out to our friend Amy, who listens, a friend on Twitter who has she just hit like 500 hours on her Let's Plays in Skyrim. So that's pretty staggering accomplishment. And it's, what does that say about Skyrim? I had this debate. Also shout out to a friend in the Cartridge Club, Player One. Just kind of not being snarky, but kind of like really people keep buying this game is like fucking 5 years old or whatever. I'm like, and I just couldn't let that slide at him. I was like, there's so much you can do in Skyrim. It's like the perfect game. It is the perfect game. If you think about it, people are still playing this game today. They're still finding shit.
Absolutely.
Still doing things.
People are still playing
One of the
Oblivion though
greatest
as well.
games ever made. And not to count the countless DLC, the Game of the Year edition, all that shit. Now the remaster. There's no question why people would still buy Skyrim. It's one of the greatest games ever made, in my opinion.
It is awesome. It's certainly
Oblivion.
either my favorite game or one of my favorite games.
I'm really excited to play the remaster. I'm so pumped up for that. I'm not going to hold back my hype because I know it's going to be good. So it's not really hype doesn't count on that, I guess. It's
Well, they like we talked about earlier in the show, they didn't release review copies for the remaster, and it turns out it's super duper buggy. I think people on Xbox this time are having a hard time with it. Xbox and PC are having a lot of audio bugs.
It's in baby steps though. That's going to happen. Especially with mod support.
Yeah, but even if you're running it vanilla, it's got problems. And that's okay to some extent because people are like, somehow Bethesda has managed to get a pass for bugs, and I'm not really sure why. I guess it's because their games are pretty fun, but I don't know.
The depth of their games, I guess, is probably the main reason people get the pass.
At some point, you're going to have to go, okay, you know what? You don't get a pass for this anymore. Like, your shit is obviously broken. Skyrim for the PS3 was super duper broken. But it was, I still love the game. I had dealt with the bugs, but that should not be acceptable anymore. Like, especially, we're not talking about a brand new Elder Scrolls. We're talking about a super old, 5-year-old Elder Scrolls. This game should not have any kind of bugs. This is all shit that should have been worked out ahead of time. They're really kind of fucking with people's good faith a lot. I love Bethesda.
And you think your version is buggy? I played on a 360 for Christ's sakes.
No, the PS3 was 100 times worse than the 360. It had so many more.
Did you play the 360 version?
No, but that was the version.
It's fucking brutal at times, man. I'm telling you.
Dude, there was quest lines that would just break. People wouldn't be there when you needed to talk to them. There's legitimately game-breaking bugs in the PS3 version. There was a long
I've had
time.
map icons just go away and never come back.
Yeah.
I've had, oh my god, all the restarts, the countless fucking restarts, all that shit, dude.
There was
I feel it.
a long time after, I think, patch 1.6 or something like that, where you couldn't touch water. If you touched water, your entire system froze up. You had to pull the plug on your system to get it to turn off. But it was it had bugs everywhere. It had bugs on the PC too, but the PS3 bugs were way, way, way worse. And what really fucking set it off, especially with a lot of companies doing the reviews, when Bethesda did give out review copies for Skyrim, a lot of people played that on the 360. So a lot of the PS3 bugs totally went unnoticed until launch, and then it was just always an uphill battle. And 360 got the DLC like a year in advance before everybody else on the PlayStation got it. The PlayStation was not the copy to have, and I love PlayStation, but it's still not the fucking version to have because of the mod support. The mod
This
support's
version
over
I
on
got
Xbox.
for fucking $4 at GameStop. I was like, yeah, because I gave my copy away a while because I was done. You know, when you're Skyrim'd out at that point, you're like, but I wasn't like, I only had maybe, I think I said around 90, 110 hours. Nothing like you, but still enough. So I was like, I'm done. I can't do it anymore.
I put a fuckload of hours last year into Metal Gear Solid 5. A ton of hours into that. And I have a ton of hours into The Witcher this year. I think The Witcher has been the big game this year that I put the most amount of time in.
In your, I want to say more modern gaming, because there's no way to really, unless it's an RPG. What do you think game in your time that you've played, you put the most hours into ever?
Ever?
Ever.
I don't know.
I'll put you on the spot.
It's probably
But
something.
that may be a tough question.
It's probably something that I play like periodically, but I constantly go back to. I feel like I've played a lot of Spunky, even though I only play that every now and then. But I'll play it every now and then for like an hour. But I never like sit down and I'm like, okay, I'm playing Spunky for 12 hours today. But I'm sure all of that adds up if you're keeping track. I play a lot of pinball. Once again, like, I don't play it every day. I maybe play it once a week, but when I do, I'll play it for an hour. But it's something I go back to all the time. But
Nice.
then you also have, like I said, the games like The Witcher, where I'm pretty sure I was around 300 hours at The Witcher too. I might not have been. It might have been 200 hours. I was definitely on The Witcher for a long time though. And then Metal Gear. I was on Metal Gear for a long time. I put 300 some hours into Skyrim. I did 200 some hours into Oblivion. I put 8 days, probably 200 hours, I guess, into Fallout 4. Something
About
like
3. I would say 3 would be yours. You played that the most, I would think.
that. No, I don't think so. I'm pretty sure 3. I was pretty much all wrapped up within under 100 hours.
For me, hands down, and you're gonna laugh. Fire Pro Wrestling 2 for the PS2. God, I love that game. I try to play it at least once a week. It's the most in-depth fucking wrestling game ever made. It's Japanese. I recommend it. Most games are good. But speaking of a Japanese franchise that wasn't good, that could lead us to our game of the week, Adam. If you want.
I'm ready.
Our game of the week this week, was it from Mary Hatcher?
Yep,
Once again.
it was from Mary. So, word up.
Word up. We do have a new request for a new game of the week, not from Mary Hatcher. We'll tell what that game is right after this one. What we do, guys, each week, play the first 30 minutes of a game. You guys request any old retro game, Sega, Game Gear, Game Boy, Adam's favorite, the Game Boy Color, his all-time favorite system. I don't know why I just said that, because it's not. Adam, our game of the week this week was
You're a
Mega
fucking
Man.
liar. No,
I'm
yeah.
a dirt politician. But I love our game of the week. I think it's probably maybe my favorite segment because it gives me an excuse to play something that I wouldn't play otherwise. I don't know.
I think the game of the week is interesting. I always spend game of the week playing with Lil, so she gets to see the nonsense crap that we end up having to play.
I will say, Mary, thank you for your game, but my kids fucking hated your game of the week. I let them play it for a little bit. I hated it too. The first Mega Man for Game Boy. Ugh, God. Adam, take this one real quick. You give your thoughts first, because I think we're going to be on different sides.
We are going to be on different sides. And what's weird is we actually started on the other side. So I went into this. I've played all the Game Boy Mega Mans before. It's been a while, but I've played all of them. I haven't beat any of them because I was just like one handheld games with the weird exception for Game Boy Advance games, but I always viewed handheld games as not overly important. Like, I don't have to finish this. Like, I don't have the drive that I do with a console that I do with handheld games. I guess the Vita. I beat a lot of Vita games too, though, and PSP. So maybe it's just Game Boy shit.
You can't compare that though. You can't compare the Game Boy to like a Vita. That's not fair.
Well, even like the PSP, I beat a lot of PSP games as well. So it's not the handheld thing. It's just the original Game Boy. But no, I've played all the Mega Man Game Boy games. I didn't remember the first one being very good. So when I played it this week, it's actually not nearly as bad of a game as I thought. I was impressed with the soundtrack to an extent. I think the game over password select screen should be our like leaving music for the podcast, because that's awesome.
I did not like any of the music in this game.
Really? So I like the music.
I think the title theme was garbage. What the fuck was that? Like, I don't know.
I feel like the music, they nailed it. I thought the music was really good. Because it was original. That is not a port from the original Mega Man. Those tracks. Those are brand new tracks for the Game Boy.
Originality can suck it then, because it wasn't good.
Well, there was that, and then as far as the actual gameplay goes, there is worse Mega Man Game Boy games, mainly Mega Man and Bass.
Yeah,
that game's fucking terrible. Mainly, I would say even these Game Boy games, I would rather play these than Mega Man 7 or 8, and those are like legit Mega Man games.
Yeah, 8 can suck it. 7 is hit or miss. Really oversized sprites in 7.
Yeah, but this the slowdown is a little wonky. But you figure this game came out in 1991. If I had this game in 91.
It would have been awesome.
Yeah, you're like, holy shit, this is it, because it is very close. It's close enough. It is closer to a Mega Man game than Mario Land is to a Mario game.
I will agree with that. This game is playable.
It's also closer.
As all hell,
it's also closer to a Mega Man game than the Castlevania adventure is.
Oh man, now you're talking bottom of the barrel stuff.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like, this was at a time when Nintendo was taking these franchises and going, you know what? Let's just make a shitty handheld port.
I'm not sure what year the Contra game came out for Game Boy. It may be the same year, 91, but that was also an excellent transition.
I don't think I ever played the Contra Game Boy game.
If we didn't have a new request this week, damn it, I would have totally said we got to play that. But maybe we'll save that one.
So I took the liberty to go on and play all of the Game Boy Mega Man games this week.
I played up to the second. I didn't play the third.
So the third is actually where the music starts being straight rips from... they're not rips. That makes it sound bad, but straight...
Watered down ports to the Game Boy.
Not even watered down. Just like remixed versions of the songs that you already know from like Mega Man 3.
Kind of in a medley way.
Yeah, but it's good. It's all good. And the stages, that's where... Well, no, I guess the stages are kind of reminiscent to the original stages in Mega Man 2 for the Game Boy. But one thing I noticed in Mega Man 2 for the Game Boy is they added the slide, which is cool, because you didn't have a slide in Mega Man 2.
I was just about to say, the slide made the second one so much better than the first for me.
So then
it's all about that slide.
You get to Mega Man V or Mega Man 5 for the Game Boy, which is a totally different game. That is not a port. That's a totally different story. Not at all any kind of port from a Mega Man game. That's a totally different thing. You're dealing with alien robots or something, star droids.
Yeah, I think you told me off air that game's really good.
It's as good as the other ones. So if you didn't like the first one, you're probably not gonna. They do get the controls get a little tighter. It feels more and more like a Mega Man game every time you play a new one.
Yeah.
But no, I think Mega Man V or 5 or I guess I don't know. You're probably just supposed to call it 5, but it's a cool game.
I can't imagine going back, like, because I had a Game Boy when I was like 7 or 8. I always thought that they would make the games easier on a handheld because, for one, like blur lines, 2, you're on the go, obviously. But it seems like for the Mega Man 2 one, more so than the first one from what I played, they made it way harder than the actual Mega Man 2. The Metal Man, dude, there's no way he was fucking harder on the NES version. He was legit tough as shit on the Game Boy version. I struggled to beat his ass. And usually it's like piece of cake, Metal Man. It's like a fucking hot knife through melting butter. But not here. No.
Hot metal knife.
It's just like, why would you make it harder on a handheld system in 91? The handheld systems in 91 were very hard to see most of the time.
Yeah, true that. And I think, I had that big magnifying glass light
So did I.
thing.
Those things sucked, though. So, like, I didn't like that thing because it would fuck up with like my my depth perception.
Well,
I just didn't like it.
that actually, I feel like we've talked enough about Mega Man, and that's a good segue into the top 3 this week.
You totally aced that segue.
Boom.
Look at you.
I did it without a knock-knock joke. You like that?
I like it.
Would have been better with a knock-knock joke.
I feel like I'm like Stella, and I got my groove back by the end of the show. I feel like things are going well. Good rocky start for me. We're kind of all over the place, but thanks for sticking around, guys. It is time for our top 3.
Travis got really upset that we kept calling Tannen a cunter. He thought we hurt Tannen's feelings. That's why he kicked him off the show.
Yeah, because I'm a very compassionate person. So, Tannen, I hope you're okay. Hopefully everything's all right. No, I'm just kidding. Tannen's good.
Seriously,
good.
though, if you're listening to this and you can make that T-shirt that says "Cunter" with a picture of Tannen's face,
please
do it.
Top 3 peripherals. Top 3 peripherals in gaming, Adam. That
Okay,
could
so
cover...
let's go over the guidelines of peripherals.
Yes. Let's do this.
Hit me with the guidelines. This is your top 3.
I don't know how to hit you with this one guideline without it being a spoiler, though. Fuck it, though. It's not like, we're seeing any money off of this, so. Would a Wii remote count as a controller?
No, that's a controller. That's obviously a controller.
But there's so much you could do with it, Like...
It's a controller, man. It's definitely a controller.
All right. That's all I really needed to know.
Yeah, it's definitely a controller. There's other things that you could hook onto a Wiimote that would count. But yes, the Wiimote itself is a controller.
What other guidelines would you like to cover, since that was pretty basic?
That's it. That's as far as I think anything else pretty much goes, right?
Not a controller. If it's a controller, it's not this list.
Gotcha. Yep. Can't be on the list if it's a controller.
Adam, you want to start things off, or you want me to get some hot fire going?
I'll start it off because actually we've already talked about my number 3. It was the clip-on thing for the Game Boy, the original Game Boy.
The
magnifying glass with the lights. It took 2 AA batteries, if I remember correctly. They went in on the side. You could play your Game Boy in the car at nighttime, which is super cool.
Official name we're not sure of, guys. So it's just
yeah, I'm really not sure. I do know that when the Game Boy Advance came out, there was I think Nyko made it, but it was a fucking pretty much the exact same thing. And it like folded over like a case, and it you flipped it open, and there was a magnifying glass, and it had fucking lights on it. Because if you remember, the original Game Boy Advance was not backlit, so they still hadn't figured that shit out yet. So with those made the Game Boy fucking playable. So shout out also, and I don't want to steal anything from you, but shout out to Super Game Boy. I don't think that counts as a peripheral. I think that should count more as a game cartridge, but it definitely rides the line.
I would say it's a peripheral because it's just a bridge, basically.
But it's like its own cartridge. I don't know. There's that, and there's the Game Boy.
Put other cartridges in it though, so it takes cartridges, you could say.
Yeah, but you count it if you want. It didn't make my list because I didn't felt like it truly was a peripheral, but Super Game Boy and the Game Boy Advance player for the GameCube. Big ups. Word ups.
Nice. My number 3, the VMU for the Dreamcast. The little memory thingies that are like Tamagotchis.
You count that as a peripheral?
Yeah, because you can play games on it. It had buttons and you could do stuff with it.
I
I totally count that as peripheral.
I would just count that as a memory card. I mean, it's cool. That's a good choice.
No, but you can play little like mini games
yeah,
on
no,
it.
those things are fucking awesome. I think that is. I would say that's the coolest fucking memory card ever. But I've put a ton of time into the Soul Calibur one where you could like bounce bombs off of Voldo's chest or whatever the fuck that one was. I played the shit out of that. There was the Skies of Arcadia game that was fucking legit, and I don't remember what happened in that. There's a Power Stone game that was also fucking legit, and I don't remember what happened in that one.
Power Stone game is the one I remember playing the most. I forget which. I think Seaman had. I never played Seaman as a kid, and I always wanted it for some reason. It just looked interesting, but I think it had its own Tamagotchi thing going on there, where you raise something.
I could be 100% wrong about this, but I'm fairly certain the Skies of Arcadia one, when you came back and plugged it in and like you took it to school or whatever and you played the game, when you came home and you plugged it back in, you got some kind of currency or something, some kind of in-game reward for playing the minigame, and I don't remember what it was, and I could be just
Very
completely remembering that wrong, but I'm 90% sure that's what was going on. But no, that thing was fucking awesome. Yeah, I guess it counts as a peripheral. So
Well, there you have it. Adam, number 2 in your book.
my number 2 peripheral. Well, see, my number 1, I feel like, I don't know. It can be very specific, or it can encompass an entire like set of peripherals. So I guess I'll just encompass the entire set.
Can I take a guess?
No, not yet. Let me get my number 2 out of the way.
Excuse me.
I don't know what a number 2 is. I got lost on my number 2. You do your number 2, and then I'll do my number 2. I definitely have my number 1.
Well, I'm dying over here, so
Try not to die.
you go ahead. You think about it. My number 2 has got to be, and I know a lot of people like. I don't think you don't like this series at all. I'm almost 100% sure. I actually play guitar in real life, so you think I wouldn't like this series, but the Guitar Hero, Rock Band, whatever the fuck you want to classify it under, the fucking guitar controller, it was responsive. And I don't hate on it all you want. It was fun. There was challenge in it. It's nothing like playing a real guitar, but I don't think it tried to be until the later games now you see, and I think that's where, and you see maybe a little resurgence in it, I think, but I don't think it's ever going to be what it once was as far as popularity. Talk about a genre that totally just fucking nosedived. Good God. But anyway, that's my number 2. I'm pretty sure you hate any music game like that, Adam, with the guitar.
Yeah,
I think.
I've never really been a fan of rhythm games. Brandy, on the other hand, who does not play any musical instruments at all. Marshall brought Rock Band up to my house, back when Rock Band was like super big and like everybody was playing it. Marshall brought it up and I was like, don't bring that to my house. And he brought it up anyways, and like we were all super drunk, and Brandy ended up playing it. And of course she wanted to have it, so we went out and got it, and like she just spent all this time drumming, and like she would just play on like the hardest settings. You would have been impressed with her, the drumming ability that she, from like not being able to play at all to playing everything on expert all the time. It was impressive.
Wow.
Yeah,
Nice.
it was crazy. And she would do like, she went after that 6-hour set list, a bunch of times, and always lost it at like 3/4 of the way through over some bullshit like having to go to the bathroom or something. Something always happened. So she never did end up getting the trophy for playing like the entire game without taking a break. But no,
Right.
she would play on like fucking hardest difficulty all the time. It was awesome. I got to go with my number 2, and it might be a bit of a cop-out answer because it's something that I haven't played with in 25 years. But the track and field map and how important that was to me as a kid.
I never had that as a kid. I wanted it.
Oh my
really
God.
bad. I never knew anyone that had it.
The reason that I was hesitant to make this my number 2 is like that's the only game that ever went with. But I remember playing the fuck out of track and field. Like, and then you get to the point where you're like, I can run faster if I just sit down and hit it with my arms. And like, so you do that, and I don't know. You just pound on the thing. It's track and field. I guess you could also say like the Dance Dance Revolution pads or whatever.
Honorable mention. Yeah, I thought about that, but see,
I hate the DDR games, but
exactly.
track and field is
I can't
awesome.
put a game on the list I hate.
So.
You know. That I've never played on the pad, I'll confess, but it looks tiring. Really fucking tiring. I know Angry Video Game Nerd totally exaggerated that. I know it's not like that extreme, but it looks fucking tiring. Do you remember the show on Nickelodeon when we were kids, Wild and Crazy Kids? It was like a contest show.
Kind of, but not really.
They had this one episode. It was like a marathon through a mall, and one of the parts they had to stop and play track and field on the pad, and whoever advanced farther and like time limit went. It was just that as a kid, that was one of those gifts like that I think were on every kid's wish list, especially that had an NES.
Ours came with it. My NES came with it, because
ours just came with my number 1. I guess spoiler. Kind of a cop out number 1, but. Do you want me to go ahead?
Yeah, go ahead, because I'm pretty sure we have both the same number 1s.
I mean, we can go a lot of ways with this, and I think that's what's cool about the number 1, the Zapper for the NES. I mean, it started before this with shout out to the Odyssey, probably the most realistic looking light gun. It was a straight up shotgun. They could never get away with it now, but fucking the Zapper is where it's at. I mean, you don't see a lot of light gun games now, except for like those Deer Hunter games. But back in the day, I mean, if you grew up in this era, then it evolved into shit like Time Crisis for PlayStation. Like the PS2 light guns were legit. The Super Scope for the SNES, that was a battery hog and a half. But if you had it on the right CRTV, it was fun as shit. It was responsive. It was good. But I just think the Zapper was better. I think you kind of would have to put the Zapper at the top of the list because it just popularized the light gun so much. So you had the Menacer from Sega, of course, but nothing like. I think the Menacer kind of sucked. Honestly, I don't know.
My number 1, if we're getting technical with it, it would be either. My number 1 is the light gun. It's not necessarily the Zapper.
That's what I should have just said. I would have saved myself 5 minutes of.
That's what I meant. Like. Originally, what my number 2 was the Wii Zapper that came with Link's crossbow training. You put the Wii mode in and you used it like a gun. That was.
I never played that.
Oh man, well you just popped the Wii mode in, but it worked for like a ton of different games. So you could play like House of the Dead or whatever else you wanted to with this thing, or like Resident Evil Umbrella Chronicles, which is a fucking awesome rail shooter. If you've never played it, that game for the Wii is fantastic. And then that was going to be my number 2, and then my number 1 was actually going to be the light gun for the Sega Dreamcast, because that gun was fucking awesome.
I never had that either. I heard good things though.
That was awesome. You played like House of the Dead with that, and it was really, really fun. It felt like what the Dreamcast did, I think, maybe better than any other mainstream system, if you like discount the Neo Geo or whatever. No, arcade games in general. I think that's where the Dreamcast really shined, was taking arcade games and making them feel like, hey, here's this arcade game, and here is a perfect fucking port of it, and you can play it at home now.
Virtual Cop series.
Fucking everything they did. Hydro Thunder. I mean, that game was. I love that game in the arcade, and it's super awesome on the Dreamcast also. Crazy Taxi, House of the Dead. They took all these games and just brought them to the. So they did it all really well, but the Dreamcast light gun was fucking awesome. That was super awesome. It felt like the light gun at an arcade, as far as like shooting it, reloading it. There was the one that I had an auto fire button, and I remember Gary's dad just got drunk and just like turned auto fire on and just held it at the TV, and he was like, I don't see why you boys play this goddamn game all day. All you gotta do is point the thing at the TV. And
Oh god! Shout out to Gary's dad. By the way, Gary doesn't suck because Gary's dad
That's
was
true.
awesome.
Big Gary is awesome. So
I think we're forgetting one of the big arcade games that you couldn't play anywhere else. Fucking Soul Calibur.
there was Soul Calibur, NBA, Hang Time.
Hang
Yeah,
Time?
like
Yes.
all of these arcade titles, Blitz, so they were all.
That was on 64 and PlayStation.
Yeah,
Though.
but was there a Blitz for Dreamcast also?
Probably. I know, but they had 2K, so.
Oh
no.
yeah, that's right. That's right.
They
They
I don't
did
think
have all
Blitz
those
was on.
2K games. That's what it was. But yeah,
Did
I don't think they had Blitz. Or no. They might have, because they had a bunch of Midway games. What they didn't have was EA games.
People are yelling at their monitors right now, like, they're fucking dead!
God, it's
God!
gonna drive me nuts.